office. Yeah, so I've said it a while ago, but it's become official news at this point that Salt Lake City is in the running for an MLB team. They announced yesterday with some preliminary plans that they want to attract an MLB expansion team or a relocation team. Um, they're also eyeballing an NHL team, which is pretty interesting as well. Um, Gail Miller, who was the former Jazz owner, Utah Jazz, she's the one making the push, and um, I guess they've got about 100 acres by the Rocky Mountain Power Plant, and that they want to use to build a ballpark that is water adjacent, and so on and so forth. They made, some uh, some remarks about them being around the size of, say, Kansas City or Milwaukee or San Diego, and how well they could support a team, as well as possibly take away from Las Vegas, and they feel like they're better positioned than Las Vegas. I don't know how that really uh, matters or what, but it definitely, I think, changes um, the complexion of the of MLB's ability to expand, and what it could mean for the A's. I mean, if this could possibly be used as another uh, site to gain traction in either Oakland or Las Vegas, and saying, hey, if you don't step up, we've got a third option now. And I don't know how much work they've actually done. I know Nashville's gotten pretty far with Dave Stewart's group in putting together a team and putting together the money and stuff. I mean, Gail Miller and it's the Larry H. Miller Company. It's pretty well heeled. I mean, they've got their cash, and I think the Pacific Northwest, and to an extent, I don't know if you would really put Utah in the Pacific Northwest, but it's definitely an area that has been growing. A lot of people have been, again, getting out of California and even leaving Las Vegas to Utah, leaving Washington and Oregon. Idaho had become like a big moving spot too, because places like Boise had become very attractive. It's affordable, and it's a nice area. It's still small, still growing, and there's a lot of ability to make things happen there. But when this comes to baseball and attracting teams, I think people would be smart to look at this. And again, when it comes to who's an expansion site, I'd been saying that that Salt Lake had been moving up quietly, along with Vancouver and obviously Portland. Portland's been working on this for years. So, but what does that mean for Oakland? Well, let's say the A's do indeed move to Las Vegas. I would think and I would hope that Oakland would become the automatic site, for an expansion team. I've been saying it, and I think a lot of people have been saying it, and now I think the general consensus in the media now is that the A's problem isn't an Oakland problem; it's an owner problem, and it's not that we can't support a team. And I said it in a recent live stream. It's like Oakland has had a massive presence in sports, and we have great fans. We just don't have a reason anymore. There's talk right now of fans getting together. Now it's slowly rumbling through Twitter and Facebook and other sites where fans are trying to get together and put together a an a reverse boycott, if you will, an anti-boycott rally or whatever you want to call it, where we all get together on one day and we show out to the Coliseum and we come in big numbers and say, hey, this is our protest. We love our team. We disagree with the way that the team is run and the ownership, and how they have run the team into the ground. Not that us fans haven't. We don't have a reason to come anymore. We don't know who the players are. Um, we've gotten rid of the stars. The cost of going to a game isn't commensurate with the team that's on the field. I mean, uh, I can go down to Stockton or San Jose or Sacramento and watch a minor league team for like $12 and sit behind home plate. I'm not getting a major league ball team when I go to Oakland. I'm getting guys who are cycling through the minors and just getting a little crack. I don't have anybody except for maybe Tony Kemp and Ramon Laureano that I'm looking forward to seeing. There have been some really cool things happening for the A's in the fact that even though they're losing, they're actually putting up pretty good offensive numbers. You know, putting up 7 and 8 runs should be a winning effort. It's the defense and the pitching that's been killing them, and it's one of those things where you have to look at those bright sides. When the offense is happening, that's a good thing. We want to see runs. We want to see runs scored. We want to see homers. There's been some guys who've been standouts, especially those last couple days. Brett Rooker, I know he's probably got 4 or 5 RBIs right now in this game right now. The A's, last I checked, were down by 1 run. It was 6-7. And granted, they are playing the Baltimore Orioles, who they're an up-and-coming team. They've pulled up some of their better minor leaguers. They've got a few guys on the team who are good veterans. They have a lot of potential, and I expect to see them really start to compete in their division. But in their division, it's a tough division. I mean, you've got Yankees and you've got, if I remember, I believe they're in the East. They should be in the East. But if you get the Yankees and right now the Tampa Bay Rays, who I want to put an asterisk by their now 12-game win start. They've played last place teams. They played the last place Nationals, last place Red Sox, last place A's, and there was one other team I can't remember who they are, but all last place teams. And Orioles, Baltimore Orioles. They're all last place teams. They haven't beat the Yankees. They weren't playing the Astros. They're not playing the Mariners. They're out there beating low end teams, who are trying to put something together, and it's so it's not as awesome. I mean, it counts. It's in the book. These are MLB teams, but anyways, I want to get back to the point of expansion. Oakland should be an automatic expansion city. If we lose the A's, it's not our fault. We're doing what we can. We've made our votes. We've made our signs. We've worn our t-shirts. We've been out there trying to do the work, and we can't do the work that's important. We're not in the negotiating rooms. We're not on the phone calls and the Zoom calls. We're not MLB. We're not owners. We're not city managers and mayors and council people. And, we're not those people. We don't have the power. All we can do is sit here and scream from the stands, just like we would at a baseball game. We don't affect what's on the field. But maybe we do, with money, and maybe if there's enough negative media attention, maybe they'll finally start listening. And I hope they will. But Vegas is a big threat right now. There are now 18 lobbyists in Las Vegas right now trying to make something happen there. I don't know if anybody's doing anything in Oakland anymore. I don't know if we're just at a holding spot where nothing really more can happen. Maybe we've done all we can at the negotiating table. Maybe there isn't any more deal to be done. Maybe it's take it or leave it. And and if we have another better deal, we're gonna leave it and in Oakland, and we're gonna take it over there. But yeah, Salt Lake City could be an underdog in this, but it's an option. So now, let's say again, A's move to Las Vegas or any one of these other potential cities. Where does that leave the city of Oakland? I mean, I think we can support a team if we had, if an ownership group did immediately step up, especially if they're on good terms and with say AASEG, and say, hey, let's slow your potential thing. We can start right now, play in the Coliseum until a stadium gets built elsewhere. Hell, they could even do it at the Coliseum still. This is the ballpark at the waterfront is a great idea and everything, but it could go the other way if a new group comes in and they just wanted to get stuff done and not pick up where the A's left off. I mean, but things could happen quickly, and I think Oakland should be a shoo-in, but I think the A's have done a lot of damage to show that we are somehow the problem, and the media is trying to show that we're somehow the problem. Oh, only 3,000 fans came. That's not our fault. What do we have to look forward to? I mean, $30 for parking is more than the ticket's worth. What we only have 3 options for food. I mean, what do you want? Chicken fingers, hot dogs, and pizza? I mean, or nachos, 4? I don't know. They've got a few things, but not on par with a major league ballpark, and honestly, not even on par for many of the minor league parks. I can go to Stockton right now, and I'd have a lot more food options. I mean, and food is a big deal when you go to a ball game. You're looking at, sitting around for 3 hours. You want to at least get a beer or a soda and have something to drink, and, being understaffed and high prices, it's not worth it. So I would hope that, again, Oakland stays at least on top of this and start working on a backup plan. I hope that Joe Lacob is in the wings and ready to say, hey, they left, now it's our time. I would love to have something like that happen. I would love it if multiple people come and say, hey, we want a team, and start having them fight over it. Because that would show that Oakland is a viable place and that people want to come here and do business and they want to make it happen. But I'm not seeing that. The other thing that seems to be not spoken about, because I don't really know where it's going at this point, is what's going on with the Angels. They had a deal to buy the land and the stadium they're in right now, and to build, ostensibly another ballpark there. And I guess there was some shady business with the city, and there was some corruption that came to light, and it got nixed. And now they're talking about going to Long Beach or something, but I don't really know how viable that is, and what's the next step? How is that moving along? Are they committed to staying in that area? Because if Las Vegas is such an attractive place, wouldn't you want to talk about moving your LA team there, who does have big stars right now? I mean, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is arguably the biggest name in sports right now. You can't tell me there's somebody bigger than Shohei Ohtani right now. I mean, and that might even be saying, football and basketball too. Right now, Ohtani is the biggest dude out there. He's drawing fans as one guy. He's drawing the fans there, especially international fans. That's really important right now when you want to talk about expansion. You know, you may not bring a team to Japan, but if you can bring Japanese players here and bring the game from America to Japan on TV and the internet, and maybe some international games in your country, that's what you do. I mean, when you really think about it, uh, baseball's not an international game at the level that, say, basketball is. Basketball, you got guys from China and Korea and all over Europe, South America, Africa, damn near every continent is playing in the and NBA. And MLB, baseball's still an American game, and it is actually declining in popularity. So uh, when you see these international things, we just had the World Baseball Classic. Um, you didn't really see a lot of teams representing anywhere else, but say uh, uh, the Caribbean, United States, and East Asia. So you have you know Taiwan and China, Japan, and Korea. There's not a lot of other international stuff. Soccer, it's everywhere. Soccer has the biggest group of people, or the biggest. I don't know what the word is. It's escaping me right now. It's in and out of my head. But they have the most varied group of players, because it's such an easy game to play anywhere. You need a ball, a field, and a net. It's only Basketball is only second, in what you need. You need a ball, a flat, hard area to at least bounce the ball, and a hoop. You can get a bucket, put it on a pole. You can play basketball. You don't even need that for soccer. I mean, you don't even need a goal. You can paint a, a rectangle on a building if you had to. Anyways, the point is, you could baseball needs that international exposure, and the NFL, you could also say, needs that international exposure, to probably to a greater extent, because uh, that's a huge game here. Huge. I mean, the Super Bowl for decades has been one of the, if not the most watched televised anything, sitcom, news event, anything. It's the biggest thing that happens in the United States, and we want to, I would think, put that out to the rest of the world. And the NFL does go out, and they'll play in London, and uh, in Berlin, and Mexico City, and I'm surprised they're not playing more in Canada. They could easily play in Toronto, or Vancouver, or Calgary, or Edmonton. There's a number of places they can go, and people will come and see. But it's just one of those things that I think places, and I think more the MLB has really figured it out. Oh, we need to really push these international stars. I mean, because I've said it before, Mike Trout might be a great ball player, but he's boring. He is no personality. He is dry. He doesn't interact with the fans. He doesn't even do batting practice with his team. After they do batting practice, you'll see him go and hit the cages, by himself, away from the fans. Um, I think that sucks. That's not being an ambassador to the game. That I think that's a big deal. Is uh, you've got these multi-millionaires, and these guys are, if they played their cards right, they would be billionaires. And it happens in basketball and stuff too. But um, you will see those fans or those players in these other sports who will take the time and talk to some fans and stuff. Um, Football seems to be a little less like that. But when it comes to baseball, this is a family game. It's a slow game. It's our pastime. There seems to be more of a family vibe to it, and a lot of these players, they stay away from it. Um, And again, I've always said that baseball should bring the game to the fans. Sell tickets to go on the field and watch batting practice. You know, hell, every weekend, have one of your stars do, autographs, for a price. Doesn't have to be free, but at least gives the opportunity, to come in and, you know, uh, get close to the game. That's why I love these fan fests. Most teams do a fan fest. A's haven't for the last couple years, but they'll put those players out there so that you can reach across the table and fist bump or high five, get your thing signed, take a photo sometimes. Um, those are great moments for kids. We went to the All-Star game and home run derby um, last July, and the part that my kid talks about the most, he caught a ball at a home run derby. You know, um, players are all around. Not a lot of players are signing. Usually, you got your biggest guys in the world. Nobody's really signing. But we went to. It was the free part. Uh, the MLB fan experience, I believe, is what it's called, and it's just a big expo full of vendors and sponsors and stuff. And there's really cool like museum type stuff you would have there, or uniforms, and gloves, and bats, and balls, and these are all auction items. Actually, there's a they do an auction there, an online and in-person auction, with this really cool memorabilia, baseball cards, all kinds of really cool stuff, old paychecks from Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson signed letter or whatever. Just this really cool stuff, and it's part of the game, and some of it you even got to play with. They had somebody's glove. Oh, this is so and so's bat. This here's just Reggie Jackson's jersey that he wore in this one game. It's like, and they actually let you put it on, or you can play with it. You get to see what it really is, and I thought that was cool. There were some really cool experiences, but those were the ones where they were trying to connect with the fans and get the fans engaged in the game in a new way, and I thought that was great. But I've gotten off track. I think there's a lot that baseball can do, and I think taking teams away from cities is a big. At this point in the game, I think it's a mistake. If you want to grow it, expand it. Actually grow it. Don't move it around, because you will alienate the A's fans. We've been alienated already by the Raiders, and to an extent the Warriors. I know a lot of guys who are not going to San Francisco to see a Warriors game. They're not. You can give them free tickets and they don't care. They'll sell them on right behind you. Thanks for the tickets. Here you go, StubHub. They don't care. They won't support it if it's not in Oakland. And I'm kind of one of those guys. I'm not going to a Raiders game. I'm done with football. Burn me once. That's one thing. I accepted you when you came back. You burned me again. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't think it had anything to do with economics. I think it had everything to do with hurt feelings. And I don't know what the A's eventual motivation is. But I don't think I'm going to Las Vegas really to watch an A's team. Not one day, not 80 games. Just I might go do it once. I'm more invested in baseball than I am in football or hockey or anything else. I've been playing ball since I was a kid, and it's my life, in a lot of ways. I coach baseball, I travel for baseball. My kid plays ball. It's very much a part of our everyday life. Our vacations are, and our weekends and all of our free time. Hey, well, what are we going to do this weekend? Well, the A's are playing. Let's go, check it out. Oh, they're down in Anaheim. Let's go down to Disneyland and catch an A's game. There's things like that we do. And so I would be more connected with it and going to Vegas, where I do have friends and family there. But I wouldn't support the team. I would go there just to fulfill my thing of going to all the baseball parks. And I'm not gonna follow a team there. I'm not gonna rep the A's gear. It's not gonna happen. You know, I'll do like I did my Raiders stuff. You know, it's if I didn't give it away, it's sitting in a box in the closet. It's it had a time and its place in my life, and that time is over. But I still cherish what I have. You know, I have some of my little trinkets and memorabilia and autographs and stuff, because at those times, those were the Oakland Raiders. You know, those were the Golden State Warriors who played in Oakland. And right now it's my A's who are in Oakland, and so they move. I'm done. I'm not an Oakland fan anymore. I said I'd actually become a Dodgers fan. There were multiple reasons. My first little league team, I was on. We played on the Dodgers. But the other thing is, I want maximum beef with San Francisco and Las Vegas. I just want to do whatever it is that pisses off those fans the most, because I find a lot of fun in that. You know, so I figured the Dodgers would be probably the most likely. Maybe the Angels, but they don't really play San Francisco that much. Um, and I know there's some beef between LA and Las Vegas. It's minor at this point, but it could become bigger in the coming years. And you know that's kind of where I am with it. But yeah, I think honestly though, when you get down to it, the idea that Saint or Salt Lake is trying to get a team. I think it actually, if I'm really real with myself, I think it does not bode well for Oakland to keep the A's. Um, I think it gives not just the A's more uh, traction and more leverage to get something they want now, not just out of Oakland, out of Las Vegas, and maybe even Saint or Salt Lake. I keep wanting to say St. Louis, but now that Salt Lake is out there, if I'm Dave Cavill, I'm like, hey, what do you guys got going on? What's happening here? They are allowed to talk to anybody at this point. They've chosen to focus on Las Vegas, but if they're not getting what they want in the next month and 2 months from now, uh, you know, that process could fall flat, and they have to look somewhere else. Well, what's going on there? What's going on in Portland? What's going on in Vancouver? Who knows? So I think that bodes poorly for Oakland, unless Oakland now sees that you know there's just not one player in the game. Now there's multiple players in the game, and maybe they'll decide, hey, if this is really something that's important to the city, maybe we should start really trying to make it happen. You know, I do want to mention there's a guy on Twitter, El Mano Gonzalez or Gonzalez. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me here, but he made a really interesting point, and I wanted to follow up on it, which was he was talking about like the difference between like going to downtown San Francisco and downtown Oakland, and he's like, in downtown Oakland, um, there seems to be like this new vibrance there, and I was like, I don't know. Last time I really walked through downtown Oakland was um, shortly after the last round of riots. Pandemic. I mean, the place was boarded up, spray painted. It was dirty. It was messed up. It looked terrible. It looked like it'd been through a war. And I had my son had a doctor's appointment at Kaiser, and so I drove all from the Kaiser, which is trying to remember what street that is. Was it 40th or MacArthur or something like that? Anyways, and took it all the way down to Jack London. And I definitely noticed that I'm like, wow, there's some not just new buildings and new restaurants, um, things look cleaner and people were out and about. And this was like on a Monday, afternoon. People are out and about. Business is being done. Stuff is cool. There's you know nothing that gave me like a bad vibe. I didn't really see any homeless people. I saw a couple, but no tents on the sidewalk. Um, a lot of the graffiti had been cleaned up. Um, a lot of the things that had previously been in disrepair are starting to look like they're being fixed. Still potholes everywhere, but for the most part, it looked like it was pretty happening. And if I didn't have somewhere to be, I really wanted to get out and walk, and I might do that, in the next week or so, and get out there and kind of show you guys. But it really looks like something's happening in Oakland, and something positive. Again, new businesses are opening up, interesting businesses at that. It's not all just pot clubs and uh, and that sort of thing. There's new cafes and bars and restaurants. There looks like there's a couple either new hotels or newly owned hotels that had been like revamped, and they look pretty cool. I mean, and it might be gentrification. It probably is, but I'll tell you what. It was a nice place to be at that moment. It was a beautiful day, and people were out, and it looked really awesome. And I'm like, wow, this is a side of Oakland we don't ever get to see in the media, and maybe we should start doing that. And maybe I'll just make that kind of a thing for myself here. An effort to portray Oakland in a positive light, because there really is a lot of good stuff going on. Even when I go down international stuff and I see the work that they've done, they made a bus only lane, and some of that's starting to kind of draw some business, beautify the area. Over in the Diamond District, there's some cool stuff happening there. There's good stuff happening everywhere. There is lively. I don't know what you want to call it. There's activity that seems like it was on the downswing, and now it's on the up. And I really hope that follows through and kind of expands. Even in East Oakland, they've been cleaning up some of the homeless encampments, and now you're starting to see some of the neighborhoods be less junky. There's less graffiti. I've been seeing new building and upkeep. I know they're out there working on the streets, because quite a bit of it has been repaved, and over off of 53rd. There's been some stuff, been some repaving going on. There are some new warehouses out there. There are jobs to be had out here. Stuff's happening in Oakland, and we have to kind of get away from the media idea that Oakland is this bad place. And it's funny, somebody made a really good point yesterday where they were talking about everything that the conservative media has said about San Francisco has said about Oakland. And Oakland isn't this terrible place that the media has made it to be, because all you hear about in Oakland is crime, and homeless, and drugs, and that's not what Oakland really is. That it's happening there, but there's a lot of really awesome stuff in Oakland, and there's a lot of stuff in Oakland that could be better if people would just take the time to consider Oakland. Consider Oakland for business. Consider Oakland for recreation, and just investing in Oakland. I think it's a place that people need to watch, because I think Oakland has possibly hit its rock bottom, and now the only direction is up, and I hope that's the case. But I'm gonna swing back to the original point and close out here. I believe Oakland can play this Salt Lake City thing in a couple ways. Again, if again the A's decide Oakland's not the place for us anymore, if the A's decide that they got to go to Las Vegas or even Salt Lake City, um, Oakland shouldn't be taken off the table. And I would hope that, if that becomes the case, somebody immediately steps up. And even right now, if you're a local billionaire and you're trying to keep the A's in Oakland, step up, say what you got to say. Hey, if you leave, we're next in line. Don't talk. Don't. We're not looking at Portland. We're not looking at Salt Lake City, Oakland, because Oakland's going to bring the fans. We want. We want it. Bring us a new NFL team. Bring us an XFL team. We want it. We want something that's ours, um, with good owners, and who will do the things that the owners. I don't know what happened to Oakland, but it just became like this, field for cheapskate owners, and we let it happen. We let it happen, and there are people who want to do stuff here and field a good team and build good rapport with the fans and engage with the media and do the things that are right to own a team and grow a team and make it a profitable and competitive team and a championship team. Oakland is a championship city, and I'm never going to let anybody else tell me it's not. It's always been. Anyways, guys, thanks for letting me rant. This is Richard Haick with Zennie62. Please like and subscribe. Please comment. We have interactive commenting now, where you comment. I can even make a video about your comment. It's pretty cool. Anyways, guys, feel free. Also, you can chat with me. I'll read your remarks, and we can make this interactive as well. We can have a conversation. All right, guys, I got work to do, and my lunch break is over. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time.